Welcome back to Reel It Back, the movie review show that brings you all the latest in movie entertainment. I'm your host, David Danger Neff, and with me is my guy,
Jay Alonzo. How you doing, Cine folks? Welcome back.
Welcome back, buddy. It's been a little while since we've had a review, but we actually got a sneak peek view at the finally DC released movie of Aquaman.
The guy who talks to fish once was a Vinny Chase spoof on Entourage, now is a major motion picture with Warner Brothers. How'd you feel about it?
Overall, I thought it was a major success.
I liked it.
There's a lot of good things about Aquaman that comes out. For example, Jason Mamoa is incredibly manly in his performance, which is a little bit different than what the comic books really perceive, where he's kind of a more clean-cut individual. In this case, he's a little bit more rugged around the edges. Amber Heard was definitely a standout for me. Dolph Lundgren had a great role, and Patrick Wilson definitely was a huge standout for me in his role as the villain.
I agree. I thought Jason Momoa brought great comedic timing, great personality as well. There are some times in the movie where he kind of fumbles a little bit as far as keeping us interested in the character. I equate that to his acting talents, but above all, he's a great actor. And I thought it was a pretty good choice for Arthur Curry, a.k.a. Aquaman. And I love the surfer-like tone they wanted to give him. I thought it works perfectly for this movie, as well as Amber Heard as Mera. Thought she was great. I agree. Dolph Lundgren is fantastic in this movie. Coming off his Creed 2 performance, which he was also very good in as well. Nicole Kidman's great. Tamora Morrison is great as Aquaman's mom and dad. And like you said, Patrick Wilson. I wasn't sold on him just yet, but the end result was we got a great fight between those guys at the end. You kind of saw where he was coming from as far as being the bad guys with the dilemma, with a flip side to his issues as well.
The visuals in this movie are absolutely spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
Once you finally get under the sea, literally, and you're seeing all the sorts of different animations that are coming in with the different species and animals, what really, really stuns it is that James Wan takes these stills of Atlantis and leading up into Atlantis, and you're just awed in how beautifully shot this movie really is.
It just really equates to the beautiful cinematography with this movie, the great camera work, CGI work. I mean, almost every frame in this movie was, you pause it, it's a poster, no matter how you choose to look at it. I think the way James Wan was able to really give Atlantis a look, much how Ryan Coogler did with Wakanda and Black Panther. James Wan was able to really give us an altogether view of Atlantis, and it's beautiful.
Absolutely. There are a couple things that I wasn't the biggest fan of.
Few minor things.
Unfortunately, when it comes to a person like Jason Momoa, the movie is almost a two-part movie. The way that it's shot, you kind of get this big lead up into a major battle,
right? Intro,
right? And then it kind of lets yourself down a little bit to try to let the movie breathe a little bit. It's a pretty popular technique that's done in movies nowadays. The issue that comes with this is when you've built up the energy so much in the crowd, it's almost best to just kind of end the movie right there and then lead up to do the same exact thing moving forward. That's where this falters. This movie really should have been a two-part movie where we had an hour-and-a-half movie showing one thing and then another hour-and-a-half movie showing a different thing that would have been released about 6 months later. That being said, some of the things that I didn't really care for was how the movie played itself out. We had a huge buildup going into the movie that was essentially an hour-and-a-half long of getting this huge fight, where we kind of see what was the entire purpose of the character, and it should have ended right there and turned into a two-parter. Because afterwards, the movie really takes down your emotions a lot, leading into the final climax and final big scene of the movie. The issue that comes from this is that it didn't sync nearly as well. There were also weird transitions in the movie as well. For example, a conversation would be cut off to start off a fight. And that happened more than once in this movie where it just felt off. It's like, okay, we're in exposition, and now all of a sudden we're in this middle of this fight that kind of came out of nowhere, but we knew it was going to happen anyway. Other thing that I really want to hit upon is, for whatever reason, James Wan decided to add music into this in terms not of a score, but of a soundtrack. And it felt way out of place.
And there's no real official soundtrack to this movie. So I, like you, found it quite odd when we have this exposition scene, and then all of a sudden Pitbull has a song playing in the background. Like, this fits nowhere.
But
I mean,
we literally stared at each other in the movie theater when this was going, because it was such it was an awkward decision to really make. I'm not sure if that was because they wanted to kind of make it seem that, oh yeah, this is still modern culture that's going on. I didn't need any of that. I was perfectly fine with being with this basing itself off a superhero movie and just turn it into a superhero movie.
To give DC the proper credit, they are going down a different path that is definitely less dark, bit more fun and playful with the humor. I think most of the humor in this movie does work. I think there are scenes when certain humor just does not land at all. However, once again, you got to give them credit for, or at least giving it a good go, because after Aquaman, we have Shazam coming up, which is going to be humor-filled. Birds of Prey movie's coming right after that as well. So I like where they're trying to go. They want to be not so serious. Why so serious? But they're going for much more of a lighter tone, which that I can appreciate.
Let me ask you this: Where do you see the future of DC going from here? Do you feel like, we've had so many strong years of Marvel for the last 11 years now at this point. Do you think that DC is now finally riding the ship to where it can be a true competitor?
I believe that the heads at DC are now coming together, realizing what missteps they may have took leading up to this point. And I think they're full steam ahead as far as what they want to do. I think while not a perfect movie, Aquaman definitely is a stepping stone from them to really jump in that race and really give Marvel a legit competition, even though they've already had that 10-year head start. But overall, I see them course correcting things and really giving DC the proper look to where, you guys can go against Marvel and other comic book properties and essentially come out on top.
I wholeheartedly agree. A lot of things that were the issues from DC in the past was that it wasn't fun. I mean, this is superheroes. When I was a kid, I didn't really think about, the ramifications or politics of everything that kind of came forth. Instead, I wanted to see cool action scenes, and I wanted to see a world that to actually be created and to feel like I'm in that world. And Aquaman really, really, really nails that. While there are some limitations in terms of the acting from the main actor, you definitely can see a franchise being built from Jason Momoa's way. If DC can figure out a way to continue this moving forward, then yeah, I can definitely see them being an absolute major competition with Marvel. And really, the winners of that is going to be us, the fans.
Absolutely.
You ready to score this?
Let's score this thing. I'm going to go ahead and give Aquaman a 7. One of those. I think the performances are great. I do like Jason Momoa as this character. The supporting cast, I think, is fantastic. And it does give you a legit cliffhanger at the end to where, okay, let's see where this next one goes. Now that the movie's out, it's getting great buzz. Now you have this freedom to kind of go further. Let's see what happens with it. So for me, it's a 7.
I agree. I think overall, I'm definitely going to give it a 7.0 as well. A lot of really good things happened with this movie. The battle scenes and shots that they had were absolutely amazing, especially that ending battle scene. Like, that was, even though you got a piece of it in the trailer, it kind of went on for a little while. You definitely got the feel of feeling like they casted correctly in this. Really, for the first time, a DC movie has felt just really well casted and really well acted. And because of this, if DC can recognize what they have in this product and turn that into something else, watch out, Marvel. Thank you for watching. For more Reel It Back, please make sure you click the subscribe button somewhere in the browser here.
Over there?
I think you're right, yeah.
And for more Jay and Dave, check out the Back to the Classics podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and iTunes.